Welcome to ETSU OpenBUCS, the Open Buccaneer University course system, brought to you by East Tennessee State University in Johnson City, Tennessee. This course is Introduction to Music. So, who might want to take this class? Let's see if you fit into one of these categories. Are you an audience member who goes to concerts and you just want to know more about what you're listening to? This could be the course for you. Do you not really get what the whole classical music thing is about, and all your friends talk about it, or maybe somebody you know and love really loves classical music and you think, well, maybe I should learn something about it so I can talk to them? This is the place for you. Maybe you're a young musician and you just like to know more about what it is that you are learning how to do. So you're playing composers that you don't know who they are. You can learn about them in this course. Maybe you're just a lifelong learner and you just want to know everything you can learn from wherever you can find it. This is the place for you. And there will be many other courses that you can choose from in the future. So we hope that you will stay with the OpenBUCS program and choose some more of our courses as time goes by. So let's talk about this course. What's it about? This course is about art music. That means what you would think of as classical music. We call it art music because to a musician, classical means it happened in the 1700s. It's a very limited category. But anything that you would think of as being what they used to call long hair music, the things that fuddy-duddy people listen to and get all dressed up to go, that's the kind of music that we're talking about. It's not fuddy-duddy though. I'm fairly old, not that old, but I have lots of students who love this kind of music and love to perform it. So it's really everybody's music. But that's what we're going to be talking about. Yes, we'll talk some about popular music, but only because popular music comes out of the classical tradition. I'm reading a book by Marcus Samuelsson, who's a great chef, and he was talking about cooking in terms of having to learn about French cooking. And he's a very diverse chef. He's from Ethiopia. He likes to talk, throw in all kinds of ingredients. But he said, being a chef is like being a musician. You've got to know about Bach before you can do modern stuff. So as a chef, he needed to know about French cooking so he could do something else. So the same thing happens in music. Popular music draws from a long tradition. In fact, we'll talk about some pieces of modern music that actually incorporate classical pieces. So that's one of the things we'll be talking about. So we'll be talking about all the parts of the music. What are the bits and pieces that make up a piece of music? You might find this really eye-opening because even the music you listen to all the time, your everyday music, is made of exactly the same things that art music is made up of. Everything has melody, and we have harmony, and we have instruments and voices. All those things are our language. So you'll be learning the language of music. You'll be learning about instruments, mostly orchestral instruments. We may talk about a few other ones, but mostly about the instruments of the orchestra. And about human voices, which is the very first instrument. They were there before anybody played anything. We'll be talking about groups of instruments, or what we call ensembles. How do we put them all together? Why would we put them together? What composers put those things together and why? We'll be talking about the different styles and periods of music. As I said, most people think classical music is all of it. But classical music is really just a very small segment. It's like the shortest period of any of them. So we'll talk about music from the 1600s. We'll talk about music from the modern period, how those things are related, and how we got from the 1600s up to the kind of music that we use now in the modern period, and how those things are all related. We'll talk about the major composers. You'll learn about Mozart and Beethoven and Brahms and Shostakovich and people like that. So you'll be able to talk about the major names of art music. We'll talk about important works in the various different periods so that hopefully when you finish the class, you turn on your local public radio station, they're playing some mystery piece of music and you haven't heard what they're playing. You can say, I think that's from the Baroque period because it has a harpsichord and they're doing lots of little trills and things, and I learned that that's what Baroque music is like. And then you'll feel really proud of yourself. I know you will, because I feel proud of myself when I can do that. And I've been doing this a long time. So hopefully you'll have that skill by the time you finish. We'll also talk about how music is related to history and how it relates to the other arts, so about theater and dance and visual arts. For myself, I'm a musician. I've been doing this for a very long time. I was in graduate school before it ever occurred to me that Mozart and the American Revolution were at the same time. Nobody ever taught that when I was taking class. It was like music happened over here, everything else happened over here. And I find that really disturbing because the music comes out of the history. The culture, history, all those things work together. It's like a big little, another kitchen here. We'll take my Marcus Samuelsson analogy a little further. It's a kitchen. It all works together. So I want you to know how those things work together. What's happening in the world while Mozart's doing his thing? What's happening while opera is coming about? Those things are important. So that's the kinds of things that we'll be covering in this class. What we're not going to do is teach you how to read music or how to write music. That's a very different set of skills, and if you're interested in doing that, there are certainly lots of websites that can help you do that. But that's not the point of this class. You don't have to read music for this class. In fact, there's not going to be any music to be read. You're going to do a lot of listening, and that's the real purpose of this class. So let's talk about our goals. We basically have 4 goals, and I'm using these pretty fancy technical terms because these are the goals that our institution uses as the guideline for all the courses that we teach that are like this. So 4 things. The goal of this class is that you should be able to analyze a significant work of art as a form of creative and cultural expression. So that's where connecting all that historical information to a piece of music is really important. But you'll also have the elements, so you'll be able to talk about how the structure of the piece is also related to those other elements. Number 2, you should be able to explain the ways in which artistic expression throughout the ages expresses the culture and values of its time and place. Again, you got to know the history, you have to know about other arts to be able to do that. Third, we're going to look at some global and cultural diversity. Music is the most global thing there is. I guess the art people would say there's too, but we'll take all the arts together. The arts, everybody has arts. So we will look at lots of different things. We'll be focusing on what we call the Western canon of music, so mostly the kinds of composers you would know about. But we'll also talk about Chinese music and Native American music and other kinds of music so that you can see that we really all have the same sources. And the final element is that we want you to be able to practice the critical and analytical methodologies of the fine arts. What does that mean? It means you need to be able to talk about music in the way that musicians talk about it. So we'll talk about using the right vocabulary for the music that you're listening to and being able to describe it and to think about it, sort of take it apart in the way that a musician would. Obviously, that's not going to be in the first couple of weeks. That's a skill that takes some development. But by the time we finish, hopefully you'll be able to take a piece of music that you know, like your favorite song, and say, oh, well, that's in duple meter, and it's in this kind of form, and it's using these instruments, and oh, did you hear how they did that? And you'll be able to really make some critical judgments about the music that you listen to on a regular basis. So basically, if we took all those 4 things and I translated it into one big goal, this would be it. In this class, you will learn to listen to music, to describe it, and to analyze it using what you know about history and culture and the elements of music. So those are our goals. That's what you should expect to get out of this class. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Dr. Mary Dave Blackmon, and I'm on the music faculty here at East Tennessee State University. I've been teaching this sort of course for probably 25 years. Now, when I started college, this was never what I thought I would be doing. When I started college, I was a music education major, and my goal was to teach people how to be band directors. That's what I was going to do. Just like when I started as an undergraduate, I was going to be a band director. That was it. And then I discovered research and all sorts of fun things, and I go, oh, well, let's do that instead. So as my college career has progressed, I started teaching this class because somebody has to teach it. That's sort of how we all get into it. But I discovered that I really love it. This is a chance for me to talk to people who generally think they hate classical music. They think opera is screaming ladies, and that's really sort of their whole mental image of it. And my goal is to try to get these people to at least give it a try. We'll go back to my kitchen analogy. Taste something different. Try it. You may not like it, and that's okay. I don't care if you like everything you hear. But I would be happy if you learned to like something that you didn't think you liked before. So I came to this just sort of a backdoor thing. But I've been doing it now for 25 years. This is mostly what I do now. And I really, really love it. I get to introduce people to things that I love. And in the process of doing that, I've learned so much myself because I have to really study so that I can present what I know to you. If you've ever tried to teach somebody how to do something that you already knew how to do really well, I mean, even if it's something like playing soccer, you know how to do that. You know how to kick and do whatever it is you do when you play soccer. I don't play soccer. But when you try to teach somebody who's never done it what to do, what's the first step? Where do you start? I've had to think about all that in all the years I've been teaching this class. So I'm really excited to be able to share this with a large audience. I think a really important part of a class like this is generating audience. And I play in our symphony in Johnson City, and one of the things we're always trying to do is get new audience members in. It's hard, it's like, I'm afraid to go there. So we want to make you less afraid to go to a concert. And maybe you do go and maybe you don't like it, and that's fine. I'd ask you to try it twice, though, because maybe it's just that music you didn't like. Let's try another piece of music and see if you like it. But this is a way for me to get people interested in being an audience member. If you live near a university campus, there are tons of concerts to go to. Students are performing all the time. And my students go and they write these reports and they say, gosh, I never knew there were people my age who liked that kind of music and who did this stuff. That's just exciting for them. They go, wow, there's another 20-year-old over here who plays the saxophone. They're not playing jazz. They're playing some French composer I never heard of, but it's really cool. So that's one of the things I would love to see. I don't get to see you, of course, because you're out there wherever you are and I'm here, but I'm hoping that you'll be out there testing out new things as you go. Another thing that I think is important is that you be able to talk intelligently about music. My stepson works in a dental office, and when he was young, I used to take him to the opera. And of course, when he was 12, that might not have been the coolest thing he'd ever done. But now that he's a grown man and he has a job, he's talking to his boss one day and he's saying, oh yeah, I went to see Carmen, something, I really like this part of it. And his boss is like, wow, here's this guy who works in a dental office. He's a business manager, but he can talk about something else. So I really think it's important for everybody to have a breadth of knowledge. I can talk about something besides music. I can talk some science. I can't talk chemistry very well, so chemists don't ask me questions. I don't know much chemistry. But I think everybody needs to have a balance in their life. And if you know something about the arts, and you'll learn about more than just music in this class, then you can be a much more interesting person to be around. And that's really what I think is important. I don't expect everybody to love the music the way that I do, and I don't love all the music myself. No musician loves everything. But if you learn to like something, and you learn how it relates to your life, and how it can enhance your life, I think that you will really come out of this course knowing what I would like you to know. And that's our introduction to the course. So let's get started with the material.